I'm Mildred. I'm one of your top student outreach ambassador, and for today's video, we're going to be talking about housing. After being admitted to university, a big question in our minds are, where am I going to live? Am I going to live on campus, off campus, or at home? It can feel overwhelming. I know it did for me, but Top is here to help. Let's talk about some of the pros and cons for each option. On-campus pros. First one, it's close proximity, so it's super convenient, super close to classes, and you can get around easily. It can take around like 10 minutes to walk through your next class, so if you live pretty close, maybe you can sneak in 5 more minutes of sleep. Second pro, socializing. It can be easier to make friends if you live on campus. They hold social events throughout the quarter, so it's easy to meet your neighbors. So based from the experience of our SOA, she met friends at Primeric Row, which is an on-campus apartment at Davis. During holidays like Halloween, campus housing would host events that involved costumes and treats. And I've been to one of the on-campus apartment of my friend, and the lounge can be pretty huge. So they have like fun stuff there, like pool and board games and a lot of like amenities. Cons. It can be very expensive. While it's great living on campus, it'll cost you more, putting you in more debt. It's important to have a firm grasp on your financial situation to see if this is the best option for you. You have to weigh in if your financial aid can cover the housing expenses. Some friends I know live on campus with the help of their financial aid. So another statement from an SOA is that she received her financial aid for the entire time she was at Davis, and during the year that she decided to live on campus, most of her financial aid went on covering that housing expense, and then she would still have like a remaining balance to pay off. But when she decided to move off campus, like her expenses were less, and then her financial aid helped cover the rent and her tuition, so she doesn't have any more balance to pay. Again, another statement from our SOA is that she decided to live on campus. It was something that she considered even before she transferred, and because she had a scholarship, that scholarship helped her afford on-campus housing, but she would have more money if she had lived off campus. Another con, on-campus housing lets you select your roommate, but again, it is not guaranteed. Let's talk about off-campus. Pros. It is more affordable, has a better price range. Like you can definitely check how much you have in your budget, so you can filter your housing choices depending on your budget. It has more apartment types to choose from. If you're looking for a room or just a place with more amenities, you definitely have more options. And you can also still live close to campus. So in Davis, most apartments have buses that ran around campus, around downtown, around the city, so which I would imagine most college towns do. There are also off-campus housing options that are actually walking distance from campus. So if you do choose like a farther apartment, it wouldn't take that long if you do take the bus. Or if you choose an off-campus housing that's a walking distance, you could definitely just wake up and then go to your next class. It also gives you an option to know or choose who you live with. For me, for example, I do live off campus for 2 years now. So I live with my friends who I met on my community college, and we started looking during our spring break, like a few months before we transfer, and we chose a place that works for all of us. So I was able to know who my roommates are and then divide all the household chores and yeah, help each other out with like cooking and all other stuff. Cons. There are apartments that are not close to campus. However, you can still bike or take the bus. Another con is that you need to be very good at managing your budget. Financial aid will disperse your refund for the quarter, so you have to make sure you have enough money for your rent and utilities. Or if you don't receive financial aid, you should be able to know like if your budget includes the utilities, rent, and that making sure you pay on time. So you have to explore a lot of options. That way you feel good about the decision you make. And also, maybe if your first year didn't work out for you, maybe you could learn better and then decide a different housing option on your second year. Thank you.
So now you have to consider whether or not it's worth commuting from home to school. And there are a lot of reasons why one might want to do that. They could be financial, right? It could be cheaper to live at home. You don't have to pay for rent. You don't really have to buy that much food. No moving expenses, right? It's just sort of, you're already there. Similarly, it could be convenient, right? Maybe you don't have to take your laundry somewhere else. You don't have to sign up for internet and pay for that. Maybe, your parents or guardians at home cook for you. So that makes going to school a little bit easier, right? Just little things that you don't have to think about while living at home. Some students also work while they go to school, and maybe that job is close to your home. Maybe it's just easier to, get ready for work from home or, figure things out from there. Sometimes students have family reasons why they want to stay at home. Maybe you just want to be close to your family. Maybe you have family-related obligations. So being at home is what you need to do. Sometimes you have medical reasons why you want to commute from home, right? If you have to see a regular primary care doctor and they're located closer to your house, it might just be easier for you. If you're somebody who needs assistance yourself from your family, that might be a pretty good reason why to stay at home and commute from home, assuming you don't live far enough away. I certainly could not commute from Los Angeles. And just other personal circumstances, right, why you might want to commute from home. Maybe you just don't feel like leaving. Maybe you have some pets that you love dearly and you don't want to leave them behind, or maybe they're yours and you have to take care of them and you can't leave them behind. Maybe you're a younger transfer student and you're a little intimidated by older students. There are plenty of reasons one could come up with for benefiting from commuting to school from home. Similarly, there are some cons to having to commute from home, right? If you live really far away, you're going to be spending a lot of time driving, right? It might take you 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes to get to campus, and that could be with or without traffic, right? So maybe you have to wake up earlier. Maybe you have to work around that when you're trying to study for exams, right? That's a big thing, right? Time is very important. I had a friend of mine commute from Auburn, which is 55 miles from Davis, and she tried to deny it her first year at Davis, but the time that she spent driving, which was roughly 15 hours a week, did impact her academic performance to an extent. So it's not something to disregard. And of course, in conjunction with that, you have gas money. If you're going to be spending more time driving, you're going to be spending more time on gas, right? Davis gas prices usually tend to be around $3.50, which isn't the most expensive you've ever seen, I'm sure, but it's not that cheap. Depending on your car, you could be spending 30 to 50 bucks a week, and depending on how far away you are as well. And not only are you paying for gas, but you're also putting wear on your car. So the more you drive, the more frequent you'll have to get an oil change or change your tires, or the more likely that something is to malfunction at some point. So those are definitely some key things. Class schedules are not consistent between quarters, right? So maybe one quarter you manage to be able to consolidate your classes to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, which is cool, right? You only go 3 days a week. Maybe next quarter you can't do that, and you have to go Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday, right? So that's something that you're going to have to take into consideration when you're studying for your exams. Or let's say you want to meet up with friends and study, right? You have to, coming back to what I said about time, you have to take that time into consideration. Sometimes you just don't want to live at home, right? Everybody can relate. to that one, I'm sure, to some extent. Maybe you want your freedom, you want your own space. If you're like me, maybe you never had your own room, and moving to school meant finally getting your own room. So maybe that's something you're really excited about, and to you it's worth paying that rent and those utilities and that Wi-Fi. Maybe it's worth putting up with strangers that you've never met. you know um, personal preferences. And then, the last thing I would say that you should consider is, in light of the fact that you don't live close and that you have to spend time and money driving, if you happen to be interested in participating in school events or clubs, or as you meet people and make friends and people want to go hang out in downtown, right? That's something that you're going to have to think about, because in a sense you're a little bit more isolated, right? Depending on how far away you live. That's just more time, right? That you have to spend. Okay, well, I want to hang out, but it's not just as easy as stepping out of my apartment and walking 5 blocks to downtown. No, I have to get ready, get in the car. Everybody always wants to hang out in the evening, right? But that's when there's traffic. On the weekends, clubs tend to do their socials and their events sometimes, or whatever, I guess, calendar that club has. So then now you're not just driving to school on the weekdays, now you're driving there on the weekends. If it's not for the club, it's to hang out or to study, right? So these are some really important things to think about when you are deciding whether or not you would like to, or I guess not everybody has the option to do what they like, right? But if it came down to it, right, like, these are sort of the things you should think about when considering whether or not you want to be commuting from home, right? What do you get more utility out of? What is worth more to you?
There are some pros and cons in living off and on campus or commuting. I know it can feel overwhelming, it did for me, but take some time to write down what's most important while going to college and what's your budget. What's right for one person might not be for the next person. Hopefully you found this video helpful. Good luck.
Spent maybe they don't like what I'm saying. Start over.